Hello, this is Erin Curette from www.littlecircles.net, and this is part 1 of how to make a retro flowers quilled mosaic. This picture right here is a mosaic that was made by me and is similar to one that we are going to all make together. You will be needing quite a bit of 1/4-inch quilling paper to make this, as well as a background, which I've demonstrated how to make in 2 previous videos. If you want to check out my channel, you'll be able to find those videos listed there. You will also need some glue, a quilling tool, and some scissors. When I am done showing you how to actually quill the piece, I will also include a video on how to mat and frame it and finish your work off. So I'm excited to show you all of the steps, and let's get to part 1. Okay, so you've printed off your background or you've painted your background and you're ready to get started making a quilled mosaic. Well, you're going to need a few tools, so let's get them together before we get started. The only tools that you're really going to need for this project are, of course, a quilling tool. This is my favorite quilling tool for making mosaics because it's dual purpose. On one end is a slotted quilling needle, which is great for rolling paper strips up quickly. There are so many strips to be rolled in a quilled mosaic, so I want to do it as quickly as possible. Not to mention, it also has a comfort grip so that your fingers don't get sore. Like I said, there are so many pieces. This mosaic that we're making, you know, it's only a 5x7, but if you fall in love with making them, you might want to go bigger and you'll be rolling thousands and thousands of strips all together. So it's really nice to have that so your fingers don't get sore. On the other end is a piercing tool. This is not a needle tool. It is a piercing tool. It has a very pointed end. It can be quite sharp. Mine is dull from use now because I use it so much in mosaics. I use it to move around the centers of little pieces, to move a piece into place. It has a multitude of uses. You'll see it being used all the time throughout this process. So I love this tool. It's very inexpensive. Secondly, you're going to need some snippers or scissors. These are my favorite pair. They're actually thread snippers for sewing. I bought them at Joann Fabrics and I think they're great. I'm sure you can find them if you're interested. The most important thing we're going to need is 5 different colors for this stage. We'll need a lot more of that for the whole picture, but for part 1, where we're making the flower heads, you're going to need 5 different colors to make the flower heads. These are 1/4-inch strips. We only need about 10 strips of every color. So for me, the biggest bargain would be to do a mixed color pack. The other thing I love about that is the colors are already put together so that they go together. It kind of takes a little bit of the guesswork out. These are made by Culture Pop. The item number on this pack, if you like these specific colors, is CPMX 5027. They are Spicy Mudbug, Blueberry Cobbler, Purple Monster, Parrotfish, and Mackinaw Lilac. All right, I remembered it, yay. And then the last thing that you're going to need is some glue. I use one of these precision needle tip bottles. I find that it gives me the most control over my glue. If you don't have one of these or you don't feel like purchasing one, you could alternatively use a toothpick with like a little dab of glue somewhere. It gets a little bit messy. Another thing you could do is use a small paintbrush with some glue. Once again, probably gonna get messy. This is my favorite, but maybe you have something that you really like. So go ahead and gather all your supplies and pick out your colors for the heads of the flowers and come on back and we'll get started. So here I've cut up all of my paper. I used the entire pack. And we're gonna get started making our flower heads. So here's my surface, and I'm just gonna set this aside over here. We're not really going to need it anymore. I've got some extra paper in case I need it, but I don't think I will. I think that one pack will do us just fine. So I'm gonna just pick a color and put a tiny dot of glue at the end here. And I'm gonna go through and just in a random order, I'm going to add all of the colors from the multi-pack together. Okay, and I'm just gonna hold and press just for a second, just to secure it. This Quilling glue is really great stuff, so I don't usually have any kind of a problem. And then what I usually do is I'll go ahead and glue these pieces all together before rolling anything. But since I'm showing you how to do it, I'm going to do just one strip, roll it and place it to kind of show you what the process is. So I have one more. Let's see, I've got everything but the Mackinac lilac. Let's see, here we go. Hold and press. Okay, so that's good. So now I'm going to go back to where the very smallest side was. This makes a pretty long piece. So I've got 1/2 piece, so about 8.5 inches there, and then I've got 4 additional whole pieces of paper. And I'm going to take my quilling tool. And now these are going to make the big ones. You're going to make your flower heads in multiple sizes, so and it's really going to be up to you how many big ones you want, how many little ones you want. This is where the artistry of it all. I've got a piece of paper stuck in here and I can't get it out. Well, let's see if we can just move it in. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to put it in my tool and start rolling. Now, I like to keep a pretty good tension on this and roll pretty tightly. Because these quills are going to be relatively dense. Not all quilling paper is as strong as Culture Pop is, so you might have to be a little bit careful on how you roll or how much you're pulling, but Culture Pop paper is extremely strong. It's 70 pounds. I've not really ever broken a piece, maybe once when I was really pulling, but it's pretty hard to break it. So I say really pull it, make the paper work for you. It's starting to get a bit big here. Just keep on rolling. And then kind of tug, make sure there's not really any space. You can see it's looking pretty good. So here we go. That's 4 pieces right there. Just gonna pull that out. I see it's really tight in there. It's all right. Just finagle it out there. Okay, so now I've got it. Pull that tight. I'm gonna just hold on, put my thumb where that end piece is, and let it expand between my fingers like that. Now you can really decide how tight you want the coil to be. This one I'm gonna make kind of bigger. Let's see, keep going. That looks about good for me. I'm gonna just move this paper out a little bit and bring my board over. And I'm just gonna glue right here at the end. Take a little of the excess glue off, go ahead and hold it there. Okay, make sure I've got a good connection there. All right, now I'm going to decide where I want my center to be for this one. Let's see, I'm just going to kind of manipulate it a little bit. I like it like that. I'm going to turn it over with my precision glue bottle. I am going to kind of make a wagon wheel pattern across the back. This way I feel confident. Then I might just kind of go over, and you'll see I'm using a lot of glue. This is not going to show through in the end, so you don't need to worry about it. The little circles quilling glue dries clear. And then let's see, I'm going to put this one right here, and I'm just going to kind of press it down with my one hand and just hold it there for a second. It does not take more than a second. And there you go. There's my first flower head. Okay, so that's a 5 color flower head. So 1 half strip and then 4 full strips. For this size, I will probably make about 3 or 4 of those. Then after that, I'm going to start decreasing in size. So I always use a half strip for my middle. If you're making some really small flowers, which you can, this is really where the artistry of it all comes in. You can even further cut smaller pieces. You can really have fun with this part. If when you put it down, the center isn't exactly where you want it to be, you can use your piercing tool. This is where that comes in handy, and I'm just going to show you right here. You can actually put it in the center and move it wherever you want it to be. So maybe I want it over here. And that's how that's awesome. So now it's not where it was, it's over there. So that's where the double-ended tool comes in handy a lot. And it'll come in handy as we get more progressed into the picture too, and I'll show you that later. So I'm gonna go ahead and step away and make the rest of my flowers. Use up all your paper if you can. You might have a few strips left over. But about 50 strips is usually about perfect for this size. Make sure that when you're placing them, you're really varying them. Now we're not doing anything right now except for making the flower heads. So I'm going to make the rest of these and we will talk about it in just a minute. Okay, there you have it. This is my finished segment of making the flower heads for this quilled mosaic. I ended up having quite a bit of, or quite a few half pieces left, so I ended up making a bunch of smaller flowers towards the bottom. So you can tell here the bigger flowers are the ones with 5 pieces. I have a few with 4 pieces, and then some with 3, and then I go down to 2. And then there were a few of them that had 2 half pieces, so 1 strip each. I really like the way that it turned out. I'm going to show you a few other examples. I'm going to go quill up a few more pieces. I hope you enjoyed me watching make that, or watching me make that. And now it's your turn. So I'll be right back, show you some more examples, talk a little bit about color, and then it's time for you to get rolling. So here they are. I'm done quilling the flower heads for the 4 pieces that I'm working on for this project. I wanted to show you the 4 so that you could see how different choices of color will affect the overall piece. Up here on the top left is the piece that I've painted, which I showed how to do in a previous tutorial, and the other 3 are printed out from the free printables that you can get from our website. The bottom 2 are actually the exact same background, but I'm going to quill them in completely different colors to show you how it's not necessarily the background that you choose which is going to give the outcome. The background is important so that it doesn't detract negatively from your picture, but it's not so important that it's going to affect the overall piece in the long run, so don't get so caught up in it. And also, I wanted to point out that it's always a really great idea when choosing colors for the flower heads to choose some bright and bold colors, things that will really make them pop, such as the yellow in this piece or the orange in the other pieces. This one up top is a little bit more subdued, but you'll see as I quill it, I'm going to be using brighter and bolder colors around it, so that the flower head being a little bit more subdued is actually the exact thing that's going to make it pop. So I hope that you've picked out some great colors for your quilled mosaic, and that you are confident in the steps you need to take to get your flower heads made and get rolling, and I will see you in part 2. Thanks so much.